Perivoli Lagoon House is a 4-bedroom exclusive use property about 30 minutes from Hermanus, which is world famous for whale watching. It sits on a large swath of land which gives it access to nearby beaches and activities. That is really the key premise of the property. You are the only guests there. You are never vying for attention of anyone. The entire property has been built for you, your family, the group that you're with. Everything is solely focused on you. And so I look at it as the epitome of luxury. You don't have any contention with other guests, whether that's other activities, other scheduling, food requirements. The service is purely dedicated to you and all the facilities are yours. The design is very modern aesthetic with these curved lines all around it, but my first impression was surprised at how small the property was. And that's not to say it's tiny, it's not to say it's insufficient, but for an exclusive use property where land was clearly not an issue, it could have felt much more grand than it is. The luxury element of Perivoli Lagoon House is, I wouldn't say absent, but it's definitely not there in abundance. The main area, which ultimately is this open planned area with a kitchen, dining room, living room, has, I would call it a nice clean aesthetic. There's nothing to complain about in there, but there's nothing that's also a wow factor. It definitely has a modern look to it, but nothing there just screams that it's going for the top end of the market, which they're not, but it is extremely photogenic. The outside area is really where they want to try and push you the most, but during my 3-night stay, even though I was there in January, the weather would be warm one moment and generally freezing within 5 minutes. So they have a heated pool, they have an outdoor barbecue, they have a lot of lounging areas, but we spent almost the entire time inside, and it's this open planned area. We have a kitchen leading to a dining room, leading to the living room. And the kitchen is the biggest problem I had with the whole property, because I'm not against spending time with people, but having the chef always there is very off-putting in my opinion, versus knowing that they're in a separate part, because you just can't have a conversation. You feel like there's a team of people looking over you all the time, versus more of a laid-back vibe that you should specifically get in an exclusive use property. I'm not sure if I'd say it felt claustrophobic, because there is enough space in the main area, but it really needs to be noted that it was just myself and my dad staying there. If you take all 4 bedrooms and there's 8 of you, it lacks places you feel you can go to. Now the 4 bedrooms each have sitting areas outside of them, but ultimately they're all part of an outside terrace. Nothing feels tucked away, everything feels very close to each other, and that felt like a failure in my view. The problem you sometimes find with exclusive use properties is they're so focused on what the owner wanted, they don't account for other people. But in the case of Perivoli Lagoon House, it's interesting because it was built purely as a commercial enterprise, and yet there's no TV anywhere. And I get why some places talk about this. A lot of Oman properties talk about this, a lot of safari lodges talk about this, because they want you to enjoy nature. But there's not enough of that on hand at Perivoli to compensate for it. Furthermore, the internet connectivity was exceptionally poor. So when it came to trying to stream something, it was poor and difficult to do it. And then you had the strangeness of even things like where the plug adapters had been built, and they only opened in 2019. So I understand it from properties built in the noughties, but nowadays there should have been more attention to detail on the technology. The overall feeling of the place felt just a bit clumped together, and I'd include the desk area in the bedroom, which really felt more like staying in an airport hotel than it did in a top-end luxury property. And the interesting thing is none of these things detract or make the experience worse. They just make you wonder why they would do it in the first place. It just feels a bit amateurish in places, and it wouldn't cost much to elevate it to a higher level, which would then allow them to charge high on the rates, and I don't think anyone would complain. If I could have gone back in time and changed it at the design stage, I would have made it significantly bigger. Definitely no kitchen in an open planned area. I've never seen that in any property we've ever worked in before. I'd have dramatically expanded the size of the main area, spread it out a lot more, and put just different areas you can go chill out around the property, just hang around without feeling like you'd all be on top of each other. Despite a lot of the issues that the property has, the gym is probably the most impressive I've ever seen in an exclusive use property. Just this over-the-top area that clearly was designed for a load of roid heads or something, because it has all the equipment you could imagine to actually do a proper workout equivalent to being in a gym. But, as with everything at Perivoli, there's always a but, and some of the equipment did look like it may have predated the dinosaurs. The gym really summarizes how it does have some brilliant elements to the property, and I don't think it would take much to elevate them higher, but it is what I would consider an inconsistent product. I would recommend Perivoli Lagoon House, but I would be very clear with the clients about what the pros and cons of the property are. And if you're going for something in your mind, you're after ultra luxury, and you may have gone on a very high-end safari where you're paying tens of thousands of dollars a night, I feel like a lot of those people are going to be very disappointed. It does not have the best rooms, it does not have the best facilities, it does not even have the best food or service, but the setting and activities behind it is the real draw, and that will appeal to a lot of people.